Are you truly seeing? Today let's talk about spiritual blindness. Among the miraculous works of Jesus, giving sight to the blind stands out. It's not just about physical sight, but more importantly, about spiritual sight. Spiritual blindness is when someone cannot see God or understand his message. God is constantly working around us, showing his glory, but some remain blind to his divine workings. Acts 28:26. 28 speaks to this very condition. Go to this people and say, you will be ever hearing but never understanding, for this people's heart has become calloused. Otherwise they might see with their eyes and turn, and I would heal them. Therefore I want you to know that God's salvation has been sent to the Gentiles, and they will listen. Imagine being unable to perceive the most beautiful creation around you. That's spiritual blindness. A person who doesn't see God doesn't know him, and sadly he is spiritually perishing. As stated in 2 Corinthians, and even if our gospel is veiled, it is veiled to those who are perishing. Spiritual blindness is real. The God who cured the man blind from birth can cure our spiritual blindness. In the story of the man born blind, we see multiple forms of blindness. Jesus came to give sight to the spiritually blind, but also to cast judgment on those who claim to see without him. The Pharisees, who claimed to see, rejected Christ, and their sin remained. St. John Chrysostom sums this up beautifully, describing two recoveries of sight and two types of blindness, sensory and spiritual. Jesus proved he was the prophesied Messiah by opening the eyes of the blind, as described in Isaiah 42:7. When we are blinded by sin, distractions, or the powers of this world, we remain in darkness. But through faith, obedience, and confession, we can turn to God and remove all barriers to truly see him. St. Paul tells us in 2 Corinthians 4, that Satan is the god of this age, has blinded the minds of unbelievers, so that they cannot see the light of the gospel that displays the glory of Christ, who is the image of God. Satan, the father of lies, aims to lead us away from God's truth. He blinds believers through temptation, fear, loneliness, worry, and more. Ignorance and hardness of heart are major causes of spiritual blindness. If we do not open our minds and hearts to God's teaching, we will never see the truth. Christ, who created eyes out of dirt for the man born blind, can heal our spiritual blindness too. All we have to do is let him work in us. Like blind Bartimaeus, we must cry out, Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. Mark 10:47. How can we remove these blinding tools of the devil? First, we must be willing to be healed and transformed. This is the step of faith. Second, we must be obedient. Christ tells the blind man to wash in the pool, and he obeys. Through faith, obedience, and confession, we can overcome spiritual blindness. The Church teaches us to use the weapons of Christ, virtues, prayer, confession, and the Bible, to gain pure sight. When we use these weapons, our entire bodies become filled with light and purity. So, are you truly seeing? Or do you say, I am rich, I have prospered, and I need nothing, not realizing that you are wretched, pitiable, poor, blind, and naked? Revelation 3:17. Pray for wisdom, and may God open your sight more and more as you grow in him. Amen.